Water, the very thing you're told you cannot live without, might also be the most dangerous molecule on Earth. That sounds absurd, doesn't it? After all, water is life. Every cell in your body depends on it. Your brain is mostly water. Your blood is water. Without it, you wouldn't survive more than a few days. And yet, water is responsible for more destruction, more erosion, more chemical reactions, and more life-ending events than almost any other substance on this planet. It drowns entire cities. It dissolves solid rock. It rusts steel into dust. It tears apart mountains over time. It even breaks apart the very molecules that make up your body. So how can something so essential also be so destructive? How can the same molecule that gives you life slowly dismantle everything around you? Here's the strange part. Water doesn't try to destroy anything. It doesn't have energy like fire. It doesn't explode like chemicals. It doesn't radiate like nuclear material. In fact, water is surprisingly simple. Just two hydrogen atoms, one oxygen atom. That's it. No complexity, no aggression, no obvious danger. And yet, hidden inside that simplicity is one of the most powerful forces shaping our planet and your existence. So maybe the real question isn't, is water dangerous? But rather, why does something so simple have such extraordinary power? Let's start with something simple. Take a glass of water. There's nothing threatening about it. You drink it without thinking. You spill it, wipe it, ignore it. But leave that same water sitting long enough and something interesting happens. Metal rusts. Wood swells and cracks. Paint peels. Even stone begins to wear away. Now zoom out. Rivers carve canyons. Waves break coastlines. Rain reshapes entire landscapes. The Grand Canyon, one of the most massive geological structures on Earth, wasn't carved by explosions or earthquakes. It was carved by water, slowly, patiently, relentlessly. And here's the strange thing. At any given moment, a single drop of water seems harmless. You could hold it on your fingertip. But billions of drops, acting over time, can reshape continents. Now bring it back to your body. Every second, water is flowing through you, carrying nutrients, dissolving chemicals, enabling reactions. But it's also quietly participating in processes that break things down. Aging, for example, is partly driven by chemical reactions, many of which depend on water. So the same substance that keeps you alive is also involved in the processes that slowly wear your body down. It's almost like water is playing both sides, helping build, while quietly contributing to decay. So now the question becomes deeper. What is it about water that allows it to do both? Most people never ask this. Why is water so effective? Not just useful, but universally effective. Why does it dissolve so many substances? Why does it enable life everywhere we find it? Why does it participate in so many chemical reactions? Out of all the molecules in the universe, why this one? Think about it. There are countless combinations of atoms that could exist, different molecules with different properties. But somehow, water sits in a very special position. It's not too reactive, not too stable, not too weak, not too strong. It exists in this strange sweet spot where it can interact with almost everything. And that's rare. Most substances are either too inert, they don't react at all, or too reactive, they destroy everything instantly. But water interacts just enough, which raises an even more unsettling thought. What if life itself isn't possible without something like water? And if that's true, then the very thing that allows life to exist also carries the potential to destroy it. So maybe water isn't just a helpful molecule. Maybe it's something much more fundamental, something built into the rules of how reality works. At the surface level, the answer begins with structure. Water is made of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, H2O. But the way these atoms are arranged is what makes all the difference. The molecule isn't straight, it's bent. This tiny angle creates something extremely important, polarity. One side of the molecule has a slight positive charge. The other side has a slight negative charge. Now imagine billions of these tiny polarized molecules interacting. They attract each other. They pull on other charged particles. They surround and break apart substances. This is why water is often called the universal solvent. It can dissolve salts, sugars, gases, and countless other compounds. When you put salt in water, the water molecules surround each ion and pull it apart. It's like millions of microscopic hands grabbing onto a solid and slowly tearing it into pieces. And this is happening constantly, inside your body, in rivers, in the soil, in the ocean. Water doesn't just carry substances, it transforms them. But here's where it gets interesting. Water doesn't dissolve everything. It selectively interacts, which means it doesn't just break things apart randomly. It participates in structured, controlled reactions. This is exactly what life needs. A medium where molecules can move, interact, combine, and separate. So at this level, water seems like the perfect tool for life. But that's only the beginning of the story. Here's the twist. The same properties that make water perfect for life also make it perfect for destruction. Because dissolving things isn't always helpful. Sometimes it means breaking them down. Water doesn't know the difference between something that should stay intact and something that should fall apart. It simply follows the rules of physics. If a bond can be weakened, water will weaken it. If something can be dissolved, water will dissolve it. This includes rocks, metals, structures, even biological molecules. Proteins, DNA, cell membranes, all of these exist in a delicate balance with water. Too little water and life stops. Too much interaction and structures begin to degrade. It's like living inside a chemical ocean that is constantly trying to rearrange everything. And yet, life survives by controlling that chaos. Cells build membranes to manage water flow. Proteins fold in specific ways to resist disruption. Biochemical systems constantly repair damage, but the threat is always there. Water is always interacting, always moving, always reacting. It's not violent like fire, it's persistent, and persistence over time is far more powerful than sudden force. So water becomes something unusual, not an obvious danger, but a fundamental force of change. Now imagine this. You shrink yourself down, smaller than a single cell. You're now inside your own body, floating in a vast ocean of water molecules. But this isn't calm water, it's chaotic. Molecules are constantly colliding, vibrating, pulling, pushing. Proteins twist and fold like moving machines. Ions drift like charged particles in a storm. Chemical reactions flash in every direction, and everywhere, water. Water molecules are bumping into everything. They're surrounding structures, slipping between atoms, nudging molecules apart. Nothing is still. Now imagine removing water from this environment. Everything freezes. Reactions stop. Movement halts. Life disappears. So water is clearly necessary. But now imagine increasing its disruptive power just slightly. Stronger polarity. More aggressive interactions. Suddenly, proteins can't hold their shape. DNA strands begin to separate. Cell membranes collapse. Life doesn't just stop, it falls apart. This thought experiment reveals something incredible. Life exists in a very narrow window of balance. Water must be active enough to enable chemistry, but not so aggressive that it destroys structure. And somehow it sits exactly in that balance. Not too weak, not too strong. Which makes you wonder, is this balance a coincidence? Or is it one of the fundamental conditions that make life possible at all? To really understand this, we need to go deeper, down to the level of atoms and forces. At the smallest scale, water's behavior comes from electromagnetic interactions. The oxygen atom pulls electrons more strongly than hydrogen. This creates that uneven charge, the polarity. Now, when water molecules come close to each other, they form something called hydrogen bonds. These are weak compared to covalent bonds, but strong enough to create structure. This is crucial. because it gives water a strange combination of properties. It flows like a liquid, but holds together like a structured network. That's why water has surface tension, why droplets form, why insects can walk on it. But it also explains something even more important. Water can reorganize itself constantly. Hydrogen bonds break and reform in trillionths of a second. So water is never static. It's a constantly shifting network. Now apply this to chemistry. When molecules are placed in water, this network adapts. It rearranges itself around them, sometimes stabilizing them, sometimes pulling them apart. This dynamic behavior is what allows complex chemistry to happen. But again, this same flexibility means water can destabilize structures. At a deeper level, it's not helping or hurting. It's simply following the rules of physics, minimizing energy, maximizing stability in each moment. And that process leads to both creation and destruction. Now let's zoom out. At the scale of a drop, water seems simple. At the scale of a river, it becomes powerful. At the scale of a planet, it becomes transformative. Earth is shaped by water. Oceans regulate temperature. Clouds control climate. Ice reflects sunlight. Even the existence of continents, weather systems, and ecosystems depends on water. Now go even bigger. Astronomers searching for life don't just look for oxygen or carbon. They look for water. Liquid water is considered one of the strongest indicators that life might exist somewhere. Why? Because water enables complexity. Without it, chemistry is too slow or too limited. But now consider the flip side. Planets with too much water may become unstable. Extreme weather, massive storms, runaway chemical cycles. Again, balance is everything. And water sits at the center of that balance. It's not just part of the system, it defines the system. So here's the big realization. Water isn't just a molecule. It's a mediator of change. It allows matter to interact, transform, and evolve. Without it, the universe would be far more static. With it, everything becomes dynamic. But that dynamism comes with a cost. Change always involves breaking something to create something new. And water is the medium through which that happens. So when we ask, is water dangerous? We're asking the wrong question. Water isn't dangerous in the way a weapon is dangerous. It's dangerous in the way time is dangerous. It doesn't attack, it transforms. And transformation always has consequences. There's something almost poetic about this. The very thing that sustains life is also quietly undoing it. A simple molecule, 3 atoms, but also a force that shapes planets, a medium that enables life, a participant in every chemical reaction inside you. It's not just keeping you alive, it's part of the reason anything exists the way it does. And in that sense, water might not be the most dangerous molecule on Earth. It might be something far more profound. The molecule that makes both life and its transformation possible.